Hey. I can change that right now, I think. There we go. All right. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, I had a technical issue. It was weird. Because yesterday, remember, I didn't have sound, so you can hear me now, right? Good. Okay. So yesterday I didn't have sound, and I went back yesterday afterwards and chopped off that first 3 minutes that didn't have sound, just so people wouldn't watch it and go, "Oh, forget it." And then what YouTube did was it saved it as a new video and then treated it as an uploaded video instead of a live stream. So it's not in my live stream feed, it's in my regular video feed, but I put it in the live stream playlist, which is something I do, but it's not in the live stream playlist that YouTube creates. So in the process of doing that, then I went back to yesterday's video, and that was live stream, that had the 3 minutes of silence on the front of it, and I put it in private mode. So then today when I went to do the live stream, I hit start stream. Or the first thing it asks you is, you want to use the settings from yesterday? I'm like, sure, that's what I've been doing every day. So saved settings. And I hit live stream, and I'm like looking at the thing, and I'm like, where is everybody? You guys weren't showing up. And I'm like, what's going on? So I quit, and I said, well, something must be going on. I went back to my list, and it said I'd set it to private because I'd saved the settings from yesterday's video that I set to private. That it's this long, convoluted like puzzle I had to figure out. So you got the notification at like 7 p.m. Yep, exactly. So now, Kathy, Dennis, I'm going to make you administrator. Okay, I can do that right here. Kathy is not feeling well. She's got stupid headaches, which is a drag, so we can all be praying for her. David had interesting... let's see, where are you, Dennis? There you are. Okay, adding Dennis as a moderator. So basically, Dennis, I mean, it's just mainly if somebody's getting really trollish, we take them out. Okay? I mean, you recognize 15-year-old trolls. That's basically what we're getting rid of. Anyone who's just going to cuss or something like that. So who do we have here? So we're going to have some fun today. I'm kind of bummed that Bonnie's not going to, that Kathy won't be here, but maybe when she's feeling better, she can watch it later, because we're going to, and then also, let's see, is Pepper here? Pepper wanted some riffs and licks and fills. Yes, we have my 10, so far 10, well, now we're not to 10 yet, but the Tom command sips. Thou shalt not, if I touch my face, you have to take a sip, because we're not supposed to touch our face in the coronavirus era. If I refer to myself in the third person, if I swap guitars, which I'm about to do, if I don't realize that I'm in a weird tuning when I pick up my guitar and start playing it as if I'm in standard, that's also a sippable offense. If I use hand quotes, air quotes, if I say I had a band in high school called something, let's see, what's the other one? If I leave the room, if I mention that I worked on Apex Legend, and Gary, we have a new one, right? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, there shall be no quiz. So if I say there's not going to be a quiz on this at the end of the week, then that's a celebratory sip. That's why I added it, because am I the only one that does this? I try to get those to line up. That's a celebratory sip. So, because you don't have a quiz. So, anytime a teacher in high school said, yeah, "There's no quiz on this," I was like, "Yes, I don't have to listen anymore." So basically, that's what that means. Um, hey, good to see you. Good morning. Let's see. What else do we have? Peter, Charles, good to see you again. Bruce, yeah, Bruce, I got your long list of things I've got to go. I'll probably send you my phone number. We can talk about this on the phone. It's much clearer than using Discord. And by the way, so hey, now, where do you live? Let me post the invite to Discord. But that Discord audio chat is a little bit on the noisy side. Okay, let's see. And now I want to go back here. No, I got to go here. Oh, here. Here's where I want to go. That's where I get my link to invite people. So I don't have much coffee left. I've got to save. I've got to save my coffee. Hey, Zen. Yeah, you don't need to tell us if you've had too much to drink. And oh, okay, but yeah, so Bruce, I will talk to you. I'll talk to you later. I'll give you my phone number over the email, and we'll talk about that. You gave me a lot of options, and I really don't have a lot of opinions on it, but I do. You're right. I do have to kind of think about it and look at what I'm doing. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Good to see you, Dave Alsop. Yep. Did I not change my shirt today? I can't remember. No, I didn't wear this. Butler's the university I went to. Let's see. David's here. Verde course. Art, good to see you, man. TA, good to see you. Yeah, you can sit outside with your iPad, I suppose. Mugu is here. Bonnie and Jim are here. David Sillers. We got 39 people on already. Bob's here. Dennis, you're the admin now. Did you turn blue yet? I don't see. Have you made it? Max is here. Leo's here. Well, hello to everybody. So we're gonna have a little fun today. Pepper had asked yesterday about, are we going to learn fills or anything like that? And you know how I feel about, let's see, I don't see my little light. Where did I do with that? Did I put it in the drawer? Ah, there it is. In my drawer of camera crap. Okay. So, and I don't know how much power. It says I have power. This does tend to help as far as illuminating things. It's a little annoying for me, but if it helps you, that's more important. And I can also aim this down a little bit, like this. There we go. And I can get my footstool so I can get my guitar higher up. Kind of squish everything. People ask me sometimes, how high do you wear your guitar? I wear it fairly high because I was a jazz guy. I kind of wore it pretty high because I wanted the ergonomics. I never understood. I mean, I see guys do it, even Jimmy Page, and so many guitar players would play with the guitar down at their knees. Alex would do that for a while, my son, and it just ergonomically, it was just really hard to not have wrist cramps and finger cramps and the palm of your hand, top of your hand cramps that way. But it looked cool, so I think that's the reason most players did it, was to look cool. Hopefully, playing that Bach fugue at the beginning won't get me a copyright infringement. I had, in fact, let me check and see because remember I got that one copyright infringement for playing the Louis Milan pieces from 500 years ago, and I'm like, you can't tell me that. And so it's been 30 days. They have to answer the dispute within 30 days. And I'm assuming what happened is they just said, forget it. I think it was less than 16, I think. So that should be settled. Nope, it still says escrow claim. So that was April 2nd. It should be done with, but I think because of this COVID thing, they're claiming that it takes longer. Your video will continue to earn revenue. You disputed the claim, yeah. I mean, I don't want to lose any of these. If you lose 3 of these, they take down your channel, which is ridiculous. And I probably should have just had them take out, because YouTube's really cool. They give you the option of taking that section of the video out. Obviously, if the whole video was that, that really wouldn't work. But it was only like a minute and a half out of a 2-hour video. So I really don't need to sweat it. But at the same time, I have a problem with copyright. Hey, there's Dennis is blue now. Now I will, Dennis, I can also moderate too. So we both can. I mean, obviously I can. But if someone's being non-constructive, like per se mentioning that they're drunk all the time, so Verdi. But you can put them in a timeout. I'm fine with that. All right. So just for review, let's go ahead and play some of the 12-bar blues. All right. I can make this a little bit bigger for you if you want. If you need this a little bit bigger, I can do that too. And again, if you can't change chords fast enough, you can just go ahead and play footballs or half notes. So 1 chord, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you know what I'm saying. 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and jam a little bit. Let me know how the levels are. Okay, let me do this again. Okay, 1, 2, E4. Now, if you can already do this, no problem. If you've already got your 1,000 times through the blues, you can start soloing if you want. And I changed guitar so you can take a sip. B7, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, A7, 3, 4, E7, B7, E7, that's the top, A7. See, I can use the chord as a soloing tool. Now just play footballs if you can't. Everybody that can't change fast enough, you can just hit E. Now go to A and change early, E. Make sure you're there on the downbeat of each chord. 2, A7, 4. Notice I'm changing early here. 2, 3, 4, E. Again, E. B7. A7. E7, B7, to E7. Okay, so there was 3 times through the progression, so you can add that to your count. Let's see, did anyone catch that I changed guitars? one of the things you can do too is on the A7, you can play, I like adding that note too, that G on top. So you could play A7 this way. X02023, like that. That's kind of a cool way to do it. And a lot of times, if I'm doing fingerstyle, I might play A7 that way, and then tuck my pinky down to the 2nd fret and get kind of an A13th and into the E. Good. No, I'm glad everybody's playing, David. You're right. I love when the stream isn't moving. That means everybody's got their guitar in their hands. When I'm trying to tell a story, it's like it just fills up so fast. Okay. Now let's quickly review our E minor pentatonic. Open E string, 3rd fret on the E string. Open A string, 2nd fret on the A string. Open D string, 2nd fret on the D string. Open G string, 2nd fret on a G string. Open B string. And then, yep, I need to tune too a little bit. 3rd fret on the B string. Open E. And then, okay. And then back is 3, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0. And these are just boundaries. These are kind of notes that you know are going to kind of mostly work in the key of E when you're playing in the E blues. Some of the notes are going to work better than others, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And then the other thing that I want you to do is try to memorize that, so you don't have to look at that now, and also try to play it up the neck. Oops. So you're aware, and whatever note this is, the bottom note with your 1st finger, that's the key. So if we're going to play in G blues. Now, the notes in this are E, G, A, B, D. 5 notes, and then it repeats. E, G, A, B, D. E, G. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to try to play that right now without looking. Go ahead and play that scale. Yeah, so David, you can just play like this. It's hard to do open strings on air guitar. It's really hard. I can see doing like pentatonic shapes. I can feel that, you know, use your right hand as your neck and your left hand playing. So that's kind of what we're going to do. I'm sorry. Alan is asking, can I, I'm assuming you're saying use E major for comparison. E major doesn't really work over E7 because it has a D sharp in it. So, or even E major pentatonic. E major pentatonic could work because there's no 7th in it. So you could use E major pentatonic, but not E major, the diatonic scale, because when you get to that, you've got the D sharp. You could use E mixolydian. We talked about this yesterday, but we didn't really get into great detail about that. I don't know if we're going to even get that. You know, this is called blues basics. I don't want to get too deep into modes. But E major, no, you wouldn't use E major. You're basically what creates the blues sound is the sound of playing a minor scale over a major chord. Okay, so we're not playing the chord is an E7. It's not E major 7. It's not. Okay, it's dominant 7th. And so it's that you have a D in there, you have an E, you have a G, and the G is the flat 3rd. So there is no G in an E7 chord. There's a G sharp. Okay, we have that. I think is that here? No, here. Okay, you can see, and this is the E blues scale, which adds one note. But you can see in the E7 chord, we have E, G sharp, B, and D. And so the G and the G natural conflicts with the G sharp. But that's kind of what creates the blues. Creates that blues sound, is the fact that you're playing that flat 3. So if that makes sense. So you're actually playing the wrong key or wrong scale intentionally. And that's what creates the blues. If we were to play E, A, B, you know, that progression with no 7th chords, and this is purely in the key of E, yeah. You could do. You could totally do just E major licks all day long. But what we're trying to do is create a blues sound. So we almost, like I said, we're playing intentionally. I should have made that very clear. I should have made that very clear from the get-go. You're really playing technically the wrong scale. But that's what creates the blues sound. So let's see, Dave above. Which Dave? A different Dave? Oh, I see, Dave Alsop. How about Happy Birthday Blues Style? Oh, whose birthday is it? Well, that would be hard. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Verdi, I'm not sure what 1/4. Oh, you mean like something like that? I see what you're saying. Yeah. So in E that would be 0, 3, 0, 1. Yeah, and we talked about that. We've got that first fret on the 5th string, that flat 5 there in the E blues. You can see, dang it, I can't, it's over here. That one. I'm still not getting used to this reverse screen thing. So that one has that one of those notes. So you'd be 0, you could say that's 0, 3, 1, 2, 3. And yes, you can go, because this note would come in handy over the B chord, but you really wouldn't want to sit on this note very often. Hey! You wouldn't want to sit on that note, but you can use it as a passing chord. Like, I always think of these two things, and here, and it's also here. I always think of those almost like a horn section, something a horn section would do. A lot of times when you're writing for horn section, you have them all play unison. Now the trombone may be down an octave. Maybe the trombone and the tenor will be playing the same note, and the alto and the trumpet will be playing the same note. Or you may not have a trombone player or whatever, but you might be doing something, like, where you'd have these horn sections. I don't know why I always think of horn sections when I play that chromatic run. But we're gonna manipulate the pentatonic. We're gonna manipulate the top 2 strings of the pentatonic scale to basically accommodate the A chord and accommodate the B chord. So we're gonna make some changes in a piece of the pentatonic scale so you can see it. And we're gonna basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of quote B.B. King, and we're going to kind of quote Stevie Ray Vaughan. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was quoting a lot of guitar players. So when he did this little trick I'm going to show you, he was probably quoting Buddy Guy or somebody like that. So, and then Hook has a question. So everybody's kind of keeping tabs on the question. I appreciate that. E blues, technically you're just adding one note. It's the same note, but you're adding it 2 different octaves. So it's an A flat. But as far as how many notes you're changing in this whole all these 12 notes, yeah. The great thing about this note, like Hook, was it you that said, no, it was Verdi, you said you play 1, 2, 3, 1, in F and B. The great thing about this one in E, okay, is that this note you can kind of use and sit on, right? Let me give you an example. I'll go ahead and play the track a little bit, and then, you know, I'm going to play one time through, and I'm going to really emphasize this. Okay? I'm going to really emphasize that and show you that it's really usable, particularly over the E chord and the A chord, but even over the B, it can be a passing tone from the A to the B. Okay? But I'll show you how you can use that, and then I'm going to let this run a couple times. If you're still trying to get your 1,000 times through the progression, you're trying to get your 1,000 times, you can just go ahead and play along with the chord progression. It's going to be right there. It's going to be right there. Ooh, I did it right. And then if you've already got that down, you can go ahead and solo. I'm just going to play one time through playing licks, and then I may go to rhythm, and you guys can all jam, okay? So we're going to this is going to be your jam track, essentially. I still have to bounce it, you know, like extend it and bounce it, and so you guys can have it to play with. But we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe you could. But you've heard those kind of licks a lot in the blues. I'm just playing the guide tones. 7th and 3rd of A7. So it's a tritone. And then the 3rd and the 7th of E. And go up to the 7th fret and do the same thing for B. Down 2 frets. Up 1 fret to E. Up 1 more fret to B. These are great little 2-note chords. Oops, sorry. A. I went to B. Triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Those are quarter note triplets. Get bored easily. All right, so that's enough of that. Enough of me showing off. So, all right, now, let's see. Question from Hook, did I get that? Okay, I got that one already. Alan's asking, is it possible to have a group video chat? I tried to post a video. I'm not sure. Posting a video and doing a group video chat would be two different things. Yeah, total muscle memory kind of stuff, Bruce. And the cool thing about those little tritone, so like I could have played you're playing what I said called guide tones, okay? And guide tones are the third and seventh. You can say you can imply almost any chord, any seventh chord, you can really imply with just the third and seventh, especially if you've got a bass player. So the third and the seventh of each one of those chords, if you see the second note in each of those chords is the third, and the fourth note in each of those chords is the seventh. So for example, the guide tones for E7 are G sharp and D. The guide tones for A7 are C sharp and G. And the guide tones for B7 are D sharp and A. All right? And, oh good, you got your guitar in your hand, Gary, good job. And so the thing is that with E is here, we got the third here and the seventh here. But if we just go down a fret, we've got the seventh and the third, so they kind of invert. This is the third and seventh, and now this is the seventh and third in the A chord. So we got. And then the B7 is just 2 frets up from the A, but again, we have the seventh on the bottom and the third on top. So I can take these down though. I could go, instead of playing the third on the bottom of the E7 chord and the seventh on top, I could take the seventh on the bottom and play these, and the same thing would happen. Here's E. See, and then go to B7, it's right here. E7, A7. It's cool, isn't it? And so, like I said, E7, and then A7, E7, and B7. Okay, so now what I want you to do, what we're going to do is we're going to make a little we're going to make a one note change in the pentatonic scale. And we're going to just do the top 2 notes of the pentatonic scale. So open B string, 3rd fret, and then open E string and 3rd fret there. So we have going up, it's B, D, E, G. B, D, E, G. So memorize that if you can. Oh, on the tritone things, you can whatever fingers work for you. You can use your first and second. You can use your second, third. You can sometimes use your first and third because you might want to put the. It just depends on how you want to play the chord. So whatever. Oh, you talk about, yeah, don't worry about it, Peter. There's no question. There's no quiz at the end of the week for this. Cheers. That's a happy sip. So no quiz on that. Basically my point is that with 2 notes, you can play the blues progression just by moving 2 notes around like that. And it would, helps if you know the fretboard, so you know that this is the 3rd and this is the 7th. But yeah, don't worry about it. Okay. But this thing here, this will be. I have not posted the track anywhere, Peter. Sorry, not yet. I will probably. I need to bounce it. Right now, it's just 12 bars, so I don't want it to be 12 bars. That would be too short. I need to just stretch it out. I'm just going to loop it. It's going to be the same 12 bars over and over and over again. But I'll probably make it last like 10 minutes long or something, and then bounce it as an MP3 and then upload it to. I may go ahead and put it on YouTube so that I can generate revenue from that. That would be pretty easy. Hopefully, YouTube won't make me take it down or copyright infringement garbage. But anyway, what I will do is upload it and then not turn it on for a little bit. So, and I think I got Peter's question. Oh wait, there's another one. Drop 2 voices. Those are not drop 2 voices. No, those are just two note voices. Guide tones. Okay. So if you want to imply any 7th chord, you can do it with the guide tones. And that's just the third and the seventh of any seventh chord. And the seventh chord has 4 notes. Where's that? There we go, 4 notes. Okay. So you would 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. There's the third and the seventh, and those are the 2 notes you would use to imply any seventh chord. It works on major sevenths. It works on minor sevenths. It works on dominant sevenths. It doesn't work very well on minor 7-flat-5s because you don't have the 5 in there, and the 5 is where that flat 5 occurs. So you couldn't, if it said minor 7-flat-5, I'm going to want to bring in the 5 too. So you're going to probably have to have the third, the fifth, the third, the flat 5th, and the 7th. But anyway, that's a rare instance. So not worth even mentioning, but yet I mentioned it anyway. So I'm an idiot. Okay, so again, if I play open B, D, open E, and G, just do that. You could do. I would use your 3rd finger, or you can go up to 12th fret and use your pinky and your 1st finger. Maybe just go down. G, E, D, B. I'll go. And then go up. Oh, right. Yeah, no, I said no quiz. I've got to be careful. I only have a couple sips left in there. Okay, so you have that one, right? Okay, so the notes we have are B and D, and E, and then there's G. Okay, so that works great over the E chord. So let's use that one over the E chord. So anytime there's an E chord, we're going to play this. Okay. Now, over the A chord, a lot of blues players, and B.B. King would do this over E even, but over A, it really makes sense. We're going to take, instead of playing D, we're going to play C sharp, which is the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. So we're going to go open 2nd string, 2nd fret, and an open E, and then the 3rd fret. Okay, now I wrote these out so you can see these. Wait. Here. Go through these. There they are. On your right, over there. So the first one is open 3rd fret, open 3rd fret, and that would work over the E7 chord. The next one is, I'm going to move this a little bit this way, like that. The next one is where it goes down to the C sharp there instead, and remember there's a C sharp. You can see over here, I'm getting better at this. There's a C sharp in the A7 chord. So we're playing open B, C sharp, E, and G. Open B, B, C sharp, E, and G. Oh, yeah, a lot of people, yeah. Yeah, and we can also create hybrid scales that way by taking some of these notes that we're doing and add them to the pentatonic scale, and now it's no longer a pentatonic scale because you've added a 6th note, so it's a septatonic scale. No, septatonic. Wait, is that 7? I don't know. I get them all mixed up. But and then if you added another one, then you'd have a 7-note scale, but that wouldn't make it a diatonic scale. Keep that in mind. Just because it has 7 notes doesn't mean it's diatonic. And you could add another one, it'd be 8 notes, 10. You could if you overlay 2 scales, you're going to end up with the culmination of all the notes. So anyway, don't want to get too bogged down in that kind of stuff. But open. So for E, you can use this. Works good. And then. Now, Verdi, I'm not saying add this note to the scale. I'm just saying instead of this note, play this note, okay? It's a big difference. And B.B. King would do that a lot. We call it happy blues. Like almost sounds more like a kind of a country blues or a kind of a western swing. kind of that kind of vibe, okay? Now, for the B7 chord, which only occurs 2 bars out of the 12, try this one, and Stevie Ray Vaughan would do this one a lot. So instead of a G, we're going to play an F sharp. Okay, so hopefully, Heptatonic is a good band name, yeah. Everybody's looking out for band names now. So it would be open, 3rd fret, so back to the D note, open E, and then 2nd fret on the F sharp, which accommodates the F sharp in the, dang it, over here, in the B7 chord, okay? You see that in the B7 chord? I'm trying to point at it right there, okay? There's an F sharp in it. So instead of playing G, which would clash with that F sharp, we're gonna play the F sharp, okay? We're gonna give in, and we're gonna play the F sharp. Okay, so I'm gonna play the blues progression, and I'm just gonna do you could just listen for one time through, and I'm just gonna do this. I'm on E, and I'll do on A, and I'll go on the B chord, okay? So you can see how we can make a subtle change in the pentatonic scale to make it fit better with the chords we're playing over. But again, you can see how important it is to have that progression drilled into your brain so you know what chord you're playing over and you don't do the lick at the wrong time. You start to hear the chords so that you can start to hear the licks that go over them, okay? And again, I'm not a big lick player, but this gives you a tool you can use. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Get that C sharp in there, back to the standard. Now you might be seeing even easier. Okay, let me turn that off real quick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try, I'm gonna call out the chord names. Let's see, make sure I don't have any major questions here. Okay, those simple note exercises are fantastic for beginner players to practice their picking to ensure up and down. Yep, 100% true. Old man, so you know, Zen is saying basically, you could practice your alternating picking on your right hand while you practice these shapes. And remember, I just showed you that A7 chord where we add the pinky. So the one that's X02023. Okay, that one. But you can really see that shape in that chord, in that version of the chord. So, Nord, let's see. Damn Nord is asking me, hey Tom, when you are playing like this, do you find that you inadvertently hit other strings and mute them by mistake, or do you always play the notes exactly dead on? No, you almost don't want to play them exactly dead on. You almost want to have a devil may care kind of attitude when it comes particularly to the blues. If I were playing bebop, yeah, that's different, or classical, different. But with the blues, you do, and I notice the same thing with, well, for sure with blues players, for sure with bluegrass players, they also will kind of have this, they're hitting a couple strings at a time, you know. You know, they kind of have, I'm not a bluegrass player. I play one on TV, but so they're that way. Also, I feel like I tried to do a rockabilly lick earlier and it didn't work. But basically, rockabilly players are kind of the same way. They're almost intentionally sloppy, and that kind of gives you this like, yeah, I don't care, you know, kind of, you know, fight the man kind of thing. So you can definitely have some strings ring out that maybe aren't supposed to, or if you accidentally mute strings, things like that. Yeah, definitely. You want to have a plan. You want to have a melodic idea. A7 add 9. No, this was just A7. That's just another seventh. A7 add 9. That would be a little tough to do. I mean, you could. A9 is what you mean. That would be an A9 chord, David, that you could play there. If you want to get jazzy. And that voicing is, let me click in this window here, 0, 2, 4, 2, 3. Okay, so that's A, E, no, yeah, A, E, B, C sharp, right, and G. And that literally has every note. It has the root, the fifth, the ninth, the third, and the seventh, like that. Yeah, Norda's been here before, right? Yeah. Dennis is Kathy. God bless her. She's having bad headaches, and her right eye is hurting, which I know exactly what's happening. Boy, that's the worst. When I have a migraine that is behind my eye, because I'm blind in my left eye. So when I have that, I'm basically blind. There are times where I've had migraine and I've been away from home and I literally just I can't drive home. I got to wait till it stops because there's no way I could drive. But hopefully she'll be better. But she's been having them a lot lately. So I'm hoping that it's just maybe not enough caffeine or a lot of times what affects me with that stuff is I don't know if anybody else has a barometric pressure changes one way or the other, massive changes. If it's really dry and all of a sudden a storm comes in, or if it's really stormy or humid and it gets really dry. Yeah, Kathy was fired. Exactly. Hardly. She's my boss. I can't fire her. Now Dennis is my boss. So we could apply these to other places on the other strings, but it's a little. They're not as obvious on it's real obvious here and real simple here. Okay, so let's just do this as an exercise. Play an E7 chord, okay, and then do this. Okay, so I played E7, and then I played second string open, third fret, open first string, third fret, and then open. Almost sounds like, right? And you could even do that if you want to go to the D again and then back to the E string, top string. Sorry, I wish you could see my strings better on the white pick card. You can even do the lick and then play Bonnie. Oh, Den. Okay, I thought that was Bonnie for a second. I mean, Bonnie was moderator. I'm like, wait, Bonnie's moderator. Okay, you could even do the lick first and then the chord. Doesn't really matter. But then just kind of grill that into your head that that's a lick, or those are notes you can use. You can remember with blues, you can make one note sing. I could play E all the way through the whole song and make it sing. And you don't need to be. I don't even want you to think about scales. The problem so often with guitarists that really go, okay, I need to know the scale. What's the scale? They think that they're breaking a code or they've got some kind of secret that's going to make it all this box is going to open up and it's all going to be, oh, I get it now. Trust me, I pursued those, you know, I get it moments for years and years and years as a guitar player, thinking, oh, there's some secret. It's like I said when I talked to Sheila at church, I'm going to touch my face so we can all take a drink. That's one of the rules. Sheila is a sax player, keyboard player at my church, and she tours with Dweezil Zappa and with Colin Hay, and she's just one of the most amazing soloists I've ever worked with. My dad, he was so cute, he said, my 3 favorite sax players, he said Dexter Gordon, Stan Getz, and Sheila Gonzalez. So she adored that. Oh my gosh, she thought that was the most cute thing. But she would, after a solo or something, I'd go, what scale were you using there? And she goes, I don't know. She wasn't thinking magical scales that are going to make an amazing solo. She was just playing what she heard in her head, right? We talked about this. So ultimately, when you're soloing, you can really, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to give you an example of this, but here, I'm just going to play E's. Doesn't quite work over the B. Works over the A, fine. Then you bow out for the B. But the other thing is you can play a bad note over a chord. Like you can play if the whole world, it's the blues. The whole world knows that you're going back to the E chord. So you can play an E over the B7 chord and it's fine because everybody's going to go, oh, okay, that note's going to get justified in a moment. Oh, there it goes. You don't really have to worry about accommodating that B because a part of the problem with doing that, you'll start to do it just naturally. You'll start to do it naturally as you start playing more the blues. But if you sit there and go, okay, I better accommodate this B7 chord because it doesn't quite work over the E pentatonic blues doesn't quite work over the B chord. So I better accommodate it. And what'll happen is you'll just mess it up every time. You'll get there too soon, you'll get there too late, then you hang on too long or whatever. You just let it kind of flow. I know that's easier said than done, but the idea is to start to get ideas from your head. Does that count touching my face right there? I need a judgment call. Did I compliment you? I complete you. Let's see, David. I really like the guy from Dave Matthews Band. The one. It was a guitar player. There's so many great guitar players. I discover them every day. Well, there's so many guitar players that make me want to quit every day. I find them on Instagram. Instagram will do that whole thing. Go, oh, you like this? You'll like this, and then I click on. I'm like, oh man, that guy's really good. It's so depressing. Verdi. Well, Verdi, you're always going to vote for a sip. Survey says, Peter. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay, where was your statement of it? Okay. I really like the guy from Dave. Oh, the sax player. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. That guy passed. I forgot. I saw Dave Matthews. It was one of the first. Well, no, I can't say that. One of the first concerts I went to where I smelled marijuana, weed. But it was funny because I went to the Staples Center and I had like top row, last row at Staples Center. And, I think it was Fish opening them up, believe it or not. And then, this was years ago. And then Dave Matthews got up there and, man, it's just the arena started filling with smoke like this. It was a long time ago when it was illegal to own or smoke or to buy or whatever. And pretty sure I just saw it come right up to us. It just filled up the whole arena like that. It was like, oh my gosh. You quit playing for years because of kid 10 years younger than me. I know. You know, it's guitar players, and just by their nature, I think are very competitive. I don't know why. So many guitar players think of it as like a sport, and it's really not. But I feel the same way sometimes. I get real discouraged when I see someone that's a lot better. And a lot of people, there are a lot of kids a lot younger than me that are better than me. So in some ways, and you know, like I said before, you know, they may not be as good at me as making a living out of it. And my clients are all very happy, and they wouldn't change no matter what. Like you saw yesterday and got the text saying that one of my clients is going to take me to London for a session to play guitar at Abbey Road Studio 2. I was like, you actually watched me get that text. I was like, yes. He's actually coming over for dinner tonight. So, but that was like, yeah, Clarence Clemens was great too. Yeah, sax is such a great instrument. And that's another thing too. One of the things I did was I listened to a lot of musicians other than guitar players to get my ideas for soloing. I would transcribe piano solos sometimes, not so much piano because it was a little tough, but sax solos for sure. And then also synth solos. There were a couple guys I really liked that were doing LA session work, and they played synth. And like on Al Jarreau records, Manhattan Transfer, you know, anything Jay Graydon produced, he would have the best musicians in town. And so I would often transcribe those things. And that's really good because what they do, my eye itches. Makes me think of Kathy. Hopefully Kathy's doing all right. All right, take a sip. Okay, so E7, play that lick again. Or something to that effect. You can go down. I think it was, who was it? Where did you say that? It was really good for, Dan Nord, you said it's really good to work on your alternating picking. That's definitely true. You want to get those two things together, and sometimes it's hard. Like your right hand, rarely in your development as a guitar player are they ever peaking out the same speed. You know, your left hand may go faster, then you catch up on your right hand. Now your left hand's behind. Now you got to catch up and back and forth. Okay, now play an A7 chord. And you can see in the A7 chord why we might have taken that D down to C sharp. It's right there. Okay, that note right there. So we're going to go open on the second string, second fret, open E string, and third fret on the first string. O2, O3, O2, E. Play the A7 chord, do the lick. And go slow. I'm sorry, I'm going too fast, I know, I apologize. Somebody, I forget who's playing air guitar, so that would be like this. No, just kidding. And I would use these two fingers, your second and third finger. Well, you could use blues players. I've seen blues players use their thumb fingers. Mark Knopfler, Wes Montgomery only used his thumb. He could play ripping fast with just his thumb. I don't know how he did it. He must have had like a serious callus right there that almost acted like a pick, you know? I'd love to see some videos of him like up close. I need to look that up. I'm going to do that right now. Just going to open a window and go to YouTube. This is where it's like an episode of CSI right here. Someone's Googling something. Because I don't know how much I've seen Wes Montgomery play live. Live Belgium 65. Okay, cool. So he must have toured a lot in 65. That was right before he died. And he was from Indianapolis, like me. Jazz 2 picks are great. Yeah, I'm kind of getting into bigger picks right now. These are the gravity picks, and I like the class. It's a classic 1.5 standard, and I like the non-polished edges because I like that. I'll teach you a blues song right now. Check this one out. Jailbreak Blues. Okay, I know you're groaning right now, but I know every single one of you is going to be doing that tonight. Hey, you want to hear Jailbreak Blues? David, you're still going to be doing that for your son tonight, aren't you? No. That's a great dad joke. I don't know who told me. That was like an old, that's really old. That's a groaner for sure. Womp womp. Oh, hey, another thing. Remember our tritones? Okay, our tritone, our guide tones also. It is a tritone, but guide tone. No, Ben, you can use whatever. Whatever is your style, it'll be your style. If it works for you better, it's going to be part of your style, and you'll be the blues guy that plays with his fingers. That's all. But if you take that tritone, that guide tone thing where you got I'm at the 6th fret and 7th fret. That's how you do a laugh track, except for the wah wah. But I don't have my wah wah hooked up. It's wah 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 wah. A little Brady Bunch laugh track. Okay, now we're gonna do the B7 chord. So play the B7 chord. It may take you a minute to get there. I don't have the B7 chord written out, but you can see the B7 has an F sharp in it. If you look over there, over here, boom. You got an F sharp for it. So we're gonna, instead of playing a G up here, we're gonna play the F sharp. So here's that lick again. Open B, which is 2nd string, 3rd fret, open E, 2nd fret, okay? You might stop. You don't want, in this one, you're not going to want to hit the E or land on the E. You might go all the way down to the B, back to the B. So you go O3, O2, O3, O, like that. Or you could go, just sit on that. Because that's a good note to sit on with a B. Or you could sit on that one. The E is the only one that's, you're not going to like. That's cool, or... Okay, so play a B7 chord, and now go to this lick. Again, B7 chord, then the lick. B7 chord, then the lick. Do that a couple times. Do you remember the one for A? Play the A7 chord. That one we can go to the E because that sounds great. And then to the E. E7 lick. Okay. I get so bored easily. I'm so OCD. That's the guitar player's version of a squirrel. Oh, look, a squirrel. All right. So here we go. I'm going to give you a chord and you play the lick. So we've got 3 licks right over here. One, the E1, the A1, and I should have written E, A, and I should have written that there. I had a little space so I could have done that. I wasn't really thinking. And then the bottom one is the B1. The bottom one right over here. Boom. And then there's the A and there's the E. It's so weird. I don't know why that is weird to me, but it's jacking with my brain. David, tell me why my brain hurts doing this. David, ADD. Yeah, it's ADD, you're right. But ADD is just another word for squirrel. So, okay, I'm going to call out a chord, and you play the lick. E7. Great job. I have no idea what you're doing. You're like, whatever, Tom. Okay, so can you get a refill over here? Okay, B7. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, A7. Oh, did I say OCD? Yeah. Well, that may explain this. I said OCD. That explains this. Squirrel, no, squirrels can't, Gary, we can't do squirrel for sip number 10. That just can't be. We got to come up with a better one than that because literally everybody would have to, you wouldn't be here, you'd be in the bathroom. Okay, A7. All right, B7. E7. I'm going to show you another trick over the E7, okay? B7. E7, A7. Can I post those 3 graphics to Discord? I think, yeah, I can. They'll just be images. They'll be individual. They're individual, unfortunately. It won't be one JPEG, but yeah, I can post all these graphics to Discord. Okay? That's fairly easy. You can only remember the E7. Okay, A7 is this. B7 is this. Well, I see. I did what I told you not to do on the B7. Ended on the E. Here's what I want you to do: is I want you the best way to learn is to teach. And if you can kind of get somebody that doesn't know a whole lot to be able to at least play the chords for you, then you can practice also, and you can be teaching them something, and then you'll start to understand this stuff a little bit deeper. All right. So Peter's asked me if I can post them. Yes, I will. Yeah, Jeff Beck is freaking amazing. That's true. Jeff Beck plays with his finger stud. He does use a pick sometimes, I think. But I have a friend, Michael Thompson, who's a great guitar player. He's played on so many hits. He idolizes Jeff Beck, and he can nail him. Boy, he sounds just like him. I don't know how. He just can nail him. He's a hard guitar player to copy because he really doesn't have, he's just so unique in how he thinks about the guitar and how he uses the guitar with the harmonics and the whammy bar stuff. And oh my gosh, he's wonderful to watch. Oh my gosh. Someday I should go see him. Let's see. Okay. So I was going to show you a little trick on the E7 one. Okay, so the E7 lick was this one, right? If you take that top note there, that G, and go up to G sharp, you can slide to it, right? That's a very country sounding thing. And that now you're getting to G sharp, which if you look over here, hey, I did it. Okay? If you look at the E7 chord, there's a G sharp in it. So when we're playing the blues, like I said, part of the thing about playing blues is you're playing the wrong scale over the chords. Everybody goes, why are you playing E major? Well, E major won't work over it because it's got that D sharp in it. I mean, that might work over the B7 chord, but it's not going to work over the A7 or the, it might work over the A7 a little bit, but it wouldn't work over the E7 and all that stuff. So, okay, Gary, let's see. I'm playing, Gary. Yeah, Tom, I have super hearing. I can hear now. No, I wish. Oh, I wish I could get rid of the tinnitus. Oh, I showed you guys the tinnitus trick, right? Did anybody want to know how to get rid of tinnitus? It actually works, but the sad thing is, don't do it. Oh, we got 41 people on, 26 likes. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you can. I'll tell you what, here, I'll get more thumbs up if I just do this. Oops, not that. There we go. If I go like this. There. Now I'll get more. Play Jailbreak Blues. Jailbreak Blues. David's like, no. Yeah, it's a dad joke. I think I've known that long before I was a dad, though. But we have so there, yeah, that's almost more like a that's more of a swing, Texas swing or Western swing. AJ, well, I did a video because I got requests for it on two videos. I'll post them right now. One was 10 tips for starting slide or something like that. What is it? Yeah, I did 2 of them just very recently. So I don't know if you've seen these 10 tips for slide beginners. And that was kind of a tough one to do because there's so many great videos about it. I hated to really compete with those because I'm not I'm not really much of a slide player, but I love playing slide. It's a lot of fun. And then the other one was tips for playing slide and standard tuning, which is very handy to be able to do. Okay, here's the other one. And I'll do some slide playing in E for you so you can see. Got a glass slide here. I've got a lot of slides. Oh, Margaret, how's it going? Good to see you. Are you new or are you just now finally posting? Getting into the conversation. Well, welcome no matter what, and you'll enjoy the fellowship over here in the live chat. Everybody's pretty cool. I don't think we have too many trolls. Who was asking about the slide thing? Okay, Dave, good to see you. Was that Damn Nord, I think, was asking about the slide. So there's a couple videos there. I like to play, I like playing slide. When I'm doing the lap steel, I'll have it in open G usually, which would be, open G is 4 strings, but really I only play the top 5, but it would be D, G, D, G, B, D. That's open D. Open G. What's his name? Greg Allman, I think, played open D a lot, which would be D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. And that's open D. But the reason I like playing in standard is not because it's easier. It's easier to read. Oh, I see. Oh, slide. Okay, without just slide. Yeah, but I wanted to play slide, AJ. Okay, AJ, I'm going to ignore your restatement of the question and just play some slide. I like slide better on the neck pickup. It sounds better. But it's easier to play for me in standard in some ways because I know every note that's there. And so I am thinking about what notes I'm playing. I can play an E to D sharp. Playing the 7th. I'm seeing an E chord here. I'm sorry, A chord. See the E chord? Anyway, like I said, I like playing it. It's easier to read when you're in standard tuning on slide because I know where all the notes are. If I'm in open tuning, then I have to be, oh shoot, what note is that? Oh, I hit the, So open D is probably the funnest to play in. Dwayne Allman played in open D, so a lot. So it's fun, but the other thing is if I'm at a gig or at a session, it takes too much time to change the tuning of your guitar, especially if you've got a tremolo. You're just going to go ahead and play slide in standard tuning. If they're just saying jam, solo or whatever, then I might go to open tuning. But if they're having me read notes, I'm probably not going to go to open tuning just so I can not have to think too hard. Open D is very hard to read in. Open G is not too hard to read in because I could just like try to find all the notes on the middle, on the D string, on the G string, and on the B string. So that is then if I just read those notes, those don't change when you play an open G. So then I don't have to worry about, if I just find all the notes I'm looking for on those 3 strings, then I can read. Okay, so then your question actually, AJ, was about sliding the finger. And like, the key about sliding is to for sure know where you're going. You really want to be aware of what note you're trying to get to. And so one of the things you can do when you look at particularly this pentatonic shape, you can try to find the open string note. You know how to tune, right? The great thing about this particular key in this scale is that all of those open strings, the top 5 open strings, can be found on the string below, like there. So I know that I can slide, instead of playing this A here, open A string, I can go, instead of going, right? So that's one sound, that has a certain vibe. I can go over here and maybe make it a little louder if that helps. Boom and boom. Or I can go, which sounds really cool, right? And then same thing with this, I could go A to B and a D. So if you're going to slide, you want to make sure you know where you're sliding to. That's the key. So often I see guys that will bend and they don't know what notes are bending to. Like they're playing. It's like, well, what are you trying to do? Like, what note are you bending to? See, that one, if you're in pentatonic, the next note is up here, so you gotta bend a minor third to get to that note. You can't just go like random like that on every string. That doesn't make any sense. But I see beginners do that all the time. So the same thing, and then if I go to if I want to find the open G string, I can find that here. So it doesn't hurt to be aware of the pentatonic shape, which would be pentatonic number 2, when we talked about those before in the caged method lessons way back. Was that like 1,000 days ago, right? I said 1,000 again there, Gary. Gary thinks, was it Gary? You're always looking for that number 10 spot, right, to be filled. Let's see. 1 meter equals 39 inches. What are we talking? Oh. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, a meter is about 3 feet. 2.6, okay. I just remember I'd always rather run 100 meters than 100 yards. That's all I know. Let's see, what do we have here? A meter is longer than a yard? No. A yard would be 36 inches. 3 feet, 3 inches. Really? I thought when we did, in high school, we did 100-yard dash, and then when they started doing the meters, they went to 110 meter. Was about the same as a 100-yard dash or something like that. Go answer the phone, David. Let's see. Yeah, the U.S. is like the only country in the world that still uses feet and all that. It's funny. I imagine we will change if we ever don't become the biggest economy in the world. It's interesting too. Oil is, when you buy oil on the market, you always have to, if you have to exchange your money into U.S. dollars and then buy oil and then sell it on the market, and then you can sell it. It's so weird. You have to buy oil in dollars, U.S. dollars. That's such a weird thing. Okay, so we got a lot of comments here, but get back on track. So yeah, that's one little trick you can do. I didn't write that one out, but that's not there in the, oops, I did the wrong window. That's not there in the OBS. So let's just to get a couple more of those, couple more of your 1,000, road to 1,000 stickers. I should have little stickers that I give you that if you do 1,000. Now, have any of you actually tried to keep track of how many times you played through this progression? And I can turn it down a little bit. I'll play it. Turn it down. If you can still hear that. And then I'll play along E7, A7. And I can talk and we can play. And that's, like I said, that's one of the ways you really know you know something is if you can play it and talk at the same time. B7. Yeah, I turned the sound down because I want to be able to talk over it. B7. What was it good, Peter, for you? E7. 3, 4, 1, 2. Yeah, I was just talking metric, exactly. B7. A7. B7. So David, you asking me to teach more up the neck, and I kind of was doing that a little bit with the pentatonic number 2. But I'm really trying to keep it to basic stuff, right? Yeah, the chat went very squirrely, David. And where was that question? David Sillers. So David Sillers, if you want to get a little bit more. I talk about the cage method in the day 1 of these lessons. Day 1 through 12 is all about the cage method. And what I do is I kind of give you a basic primer of what that means, C-A-G-E-D, and how to find those shapes up and down the neck, kind of. And then we did everything in the key of D on that one. And then we did pentatonic shapes, and then we did diatonic scales, and then we moved on. But that would really help you try to move some of the stuff around the fretboard. And it depends how much longer we talk about, the blues. We may do one more lesson on this, or we may go further, but yeah. But I don't want to leave anybody in the dust. Remember that thing? Story time, okay. I'm just using Logic. I'm not just. That's what I use all day long. And all it is it's basically a Wurlitzer, an electric bass, electric bass sample, Wurlitzer piano sample, electric bass sample, and a drum loop. Kind of, it's called Drummer in Logic, and it's great because it kind of creates the. Yeah, I'm gonna show off. Sorry about that. All right, so we don't need to see all that crap. So story time. I'm trying to think of a story. Give me a subject. Let's see. Question for Nord. Oh, sorry, Nord. I missed your question. Where are you? Oh, which software? Oh, I got that. Okay, good. Yeah. So it's Logic, and it's a great if you're a Mac user, which I am and always have been. Logic is only $199, and it comes with so many software. I mean, so many software synths, samplers. It has thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of loops, and you don't have to download them all. You can download the kind you would need if you're not doing certain styles of music. You probably would never need most of the loops. In fact, I don't even use any of their loops. That's kind of a throwback to GarageBand that has a lot of loops in it, which I never use, but I have never had to. It also has plenty of reverbs and compressors and all sorts of plugins for every channel. You can record audio as long as you have a converter. And I use what I plug into, because you have to be able to work in the digital realm. You have to have something that turns things from analog to digital. So it's called an A to D converter. And then you have to have something, the same thing generally will turn the digital back to audio so you can run it through speakers. So it's an AD DA converter. And I use the Apogee Duet, which I think they're about $600. I like it. There's a bunch of different ones. I can go ahead, and if you're really interested, I can post a link on Amazon, because if you buy it, I think Apogee Duet, and you can check out the other product. But anything you buy through my Amazon links that are in the information of all of my $649, 7 left in stock, it says. But anything you buy, I get like as much as 5% of the sale, which is crazy. I mean, I make anywhere from $10 to $100 a month from it. It's not like I live on that, but it all adds up. So here's a link to, you can at least look at it. And so that's what I use, is the Duet. And I have this is my third one actually, I think, because I've got new computers and upgraded and things like that. And they originally had the Apogee 1 and I got the Apogee 2. So I guess I've had 2. GarageBand is also on an iPad, which will record. You can record audio into that. It has drummers and all sorts of stuff, so you can actually create drum loops instead of clicks if you want to play with drums. Like I said, I always prefer to play with drums. And even, I don't know if GarageBand is like this, but Studio One is great. That's what my son has switched over to. He was using Logic and Pro Tools, and now he and his buddies are all using Studio One. A lot of Pro Tools people are changing. A lot of the young Pro Tools users are switching over to Studio One. I think because it's free. Am I right? Is Studio One free, or it's just insanely easier to stay updated on than Pro Tools? Pro Tools got ridiculous with, you had to update all your hardware as well, and then they had the key thing where you had to have the key plugged into your computer, and you had all this stuff. And if the internet was down, you couldn't. Yeah, Ableton Live is great. Ableton is actually, my daughter learned how to use Ableton at the church she was volunteering at. They had her doing all sorts of things. She sang, played bass, played guitar, plays keys, but she also, was like running PowerPoint and mixing, and so they had her doing something different every week. They were teaching her so much, and she got really good at Ableton, which I don't know anything about Ableton. Oh, you have Capture One for photography. Yeah, that makes sense. That would be a good name for that. But GarageBand is free on Macs, and I think think, let's see, is there something similar to GarageBand for PCs that comes with Windows or something? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, you can get Drum Machine apps for free. That's right. Yep. But if you're actually thinking about recording, you're going to want to have some kind of interface. And the Duet's 2 channels. So I like that because all I need when I first started recording, I had my rig, and that was stereo out, so I needed 2 inputs. And I would still have gotten a Duet. And I may upgrade to the Quattro, or actually maybe more to an 8-channel thing. But I can't think of a reason I would ever use 8 channels. I've enjoyed being able to say to everybody, no, I cannot record your band. I just have 2 channels, so I don't want your band over here recording. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a record producer per se. So that's kind of where I am on that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Reaper is supposed to be good for PCs. I don't know anything about Reaper though. And then Digital Performer is another one that was my original DAW was Digital Performer, and I had that for probably 10 years, and then I switched over to Logic, and I wanted to call Logic Illogic because it didn't make any sense when I first started using it. But when you're so entrenched in one operating system, and the reason I switched mainly was because I was worried about updatability, and I knew that anytime Mac would update their computers, that Logic would be updated already to accommodate that, like the 32-bit 64-bit thing. So that's kind of why I did that. Let's see, I'm trying to think of a story. Kathy, not Kathy. I'm so bummed about Kathy. I hope she's doing well. I'll text her later and make sure she's okay. And Bruce, we'll talk later today too, okay? Let's see. I'm sorry, and I apologize. I know you guys, everybody, I get a lot of emails and a lot of texts on Discord. In fact, here's the, I just got an email from my friend about I'm going to maybe do a phone call with him too. There's Kathy. What did Kathy say? I said my doctor about headaches before. Okay. I don't want to read that because it was private. Let's see. Back to, I don't know if she said anything weird, but here's the invite for Discord. Copy. Okay. And here it is, just in case if you're not on the Discord thing. But a lot of discussions, a lot of fun videos, YouTube links, things like that. Helpful conversations go on the Discord after and before. So let's see. What was I gonna? I had a thought. I had a thought. Oh, I know. I know. I did not see your post on the movie Rumble. Was that? Did you? I did not. Rumble. What is that one movie about? Who was? Let me see. Yeah, like I said, after I do this, I have to get to work. And I was doing some work before we got started, and I'm almost done with this one piece. I'm not exactly sure. Is it in the general chit chat, or is it in the Tom's text chat channel? Oh, you had a headache, yeah. Dennis posted Planet Rock. Yeah, and Dennis, what is that? What was that? There was something weird. It was like Rhythm Bot. What was that? Like posting all sorts of songs. What was that about? Because I saw that yesterday. I'm like, oh, weird. That's new. Link Ray in the American. Okay. No, I didn't see that. I did a song with Taboo. I've worked with Taboo for years from the Black Eyed Peas. He and I have written a lot of songs together and stuff. We did one song for was it Stand Up for the Standing Rock thing. So he wanted to do a song for that. So we did this song for that. I helped him write that. Also did a song called The Fight, which was he had cancer, and he even had me come to one of his treatments and just kind of sit with him and talk to him and everything, and that was really cool. I haven't seen him in a while. We moved away from Pasadena, and he's just been doing a lot of Black Eyed Peas stuff, so he hasn't been working on his own stuff as much. And I don't really work with the Black Eyed Peas as a whole, but I do work with Taboo, and I just like the guy. It just kind of became a good friend. What was I going to share? There was something I was going to talk about that it was technical. I know that. Oh, I know. Okay. So when I first was getting started, starting to work in studio work, a little bit, the gigs, the sessions were maybe once a month. I mean, it was pretty minimal. I can switch guitars for you so you guys can take a sip. Everybody take a sip. I changed guitars. But I wanted to, everybody in LA, all the big session guys, they all had these, what we called refrigerator rigs. Some of them, they would have these, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet tall racks with all sorts of rack gear in it. And, when I saw those, and some guys would show up with two of them, and they would have power amps in them, and they would go to speakers, and they would have all just all these effects and all these amps and all these switchers and drawers that had pedals in them and mounted and switchers to those. It was like, are you kidding me? And it's like, it totally said to me, wow, there is some real money in this business, because this gear, all the gear that they were showing up with, not cheap. Some of the rack units, like the Eventide H3000s and things like that, they were like $4,000 or $5,000. I'm like, these guys had 2 or 3 of them in their rack. I'm like, they're making a ton of money. And so I start putting together my measly little rack. I had an 8-space rack. I still actually have it. Alex has it. I had an 8-space rack, and I had like one preamp in it, maybe one effects unit and a power amp in it, maybe 2 effects units or something like that. Basically managed somehow to fill up 8 spaces, and maybe a MIDI controller or something like that in there. And so the power amp was 3 of the spaces. And then I went to the place was called Guitar, and I bought 2 empty cabinets, 2 112 cabinets. And then I bought these from Peavey. I remember they were Peavey. I still have these cabinets. They're, I think, in my studio or my other room. They grills that would go on, and you screw them in, you mount them on and everything. And then you would mount the speakers from the inside, or no, these speakers were front mounted, and then you put the grill on top. Okay. So my friend Scott, who just emailed me, he's the Mac genius. He had a store, and he was very close to the Rickenbacker people. So like, he was a Rickenbacker expert. He in fact had the Rickenbacker 12-string light guitar that had lights in it. That was, I forget who the artist was, but it was some, Vegas artist that had this guitar made by Rickenbacker. He actually had it in his store for a while because he was selling it. And I think he's even had George Harrison Rickenbacker's. Scott was very connected with the Beatles. He sold some guitars to Paul McCartney at one time because he was a lefty guitar. He was lefty, and he specialized in lefty guitars. In fact, he also was very, very good friends with the guitar player for Rick Ocasek just died, but the Cars. Really, I love that guitar player. Really good guitar player. I can't think of his name. I just met him recently, and I can't remember his name. David will know. Oh, wait. Boop. Sorry, I got it. There you go, David. And so I bought these cabinets. The speakers that I got were actually brand new, in the box, new old stock 1960s JBL speakers that were from the Rickenbacker factory. And Scott had gotten 100 of them, and he was selling them, I think, for $100 each or something. So I don't know what he paid for them, but he was selling for $100 each. So I bought 2 of them to mount into my cabinets, and I mounted them in the cabinets, and I wired it all myself and everything. And my friend Rob, who was doing a record, in fact, I just listened to the song the other day, and I really kind of liked the solo I did on it. Let's see if I can find it. I can post it here. I'll put it in the Discord. Actually, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Let me see if it's up here. Because I know he remixed everything. Yep, there it is. I think. Yeah, it's only got 3 views or 37 views. Let me make sure this is it. No, this. Okay, let's see. It had a very. I better not play it. It had a very. I'll listen to it before I post it. I'll listen to it. Make sure this is because he remastered everything, so he may have gotten rid of my guitar solo, but I don't know. He may not have had the guitar solo. So anyway, so that's what I actually drove up to Santa Barbara to do this session, and it was late at night, and I was really excited and really nervous. And there was another thing I saw up there that was funny, but I go up there. And it's in this business park. You know, those business parks that have all the garages, like, right? And like some of them are factories, little warehouses. Some of them make offices, and this one had been turned into a recording studio. And I go in there, I set up my brand new rig. I've never used it for anything. I put the speakers here and here. I set the rig in front of it, and I'm in the studio with them. And we run cables to my rig. And I guess I had the rig in the booth with me or whatever. And I ran my cables to the speakers. And I remember. I'm actually in with the guitar and I got headphones on. So I'm in the room and Rob and the engineer are in the control room. And I start to play a little bit, do some rhythm or lead or something. And the engineer records some, I guess. And he calls me and he says, "Hey, Tom, can you come in, please?" And I go, "Oh, sure." And he goes, "I think your speakers are wired out of phase." And I was like, "What's that mean?" And so he said, "Well, it means you got the wires backwards." And I'm like, wires? I hear sound. What are you talking about? He goes, "Well, listen to this. Do you hear this?" And I go, and he soloed my guitar. And I go, "Yeah." And I said, "It sounded fine to me." And he goes, "No, it's out of phase." And I go, "Well, how do you know?" And what does that mean? He goes, "Well, if you don't connect the same, because if you look at a wire, a two-way wire, okay, one wire will have like a white stripe down the side, and that's so that you know that if you put the white stripe on this conductor and the same white stripe on the same conductor on this side, and then do the two speakers that way, and then wire it up to where you plug in your cables the same way, then everything will be in phase. And what that means is that the speakers are pushing and they're pulling and pushing together. But if you wire them out of phase, when they vibrate, they push and pull opposite. And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's interesting. What does that do?" And he goes, "Well, listen to this." He goes, "If this song were playing on an AM radio in mono, your guitar would disappear." And I went, "What?" And he played the track with my guitar in the mix, and then he took the left and right and went dead center, and the guitar went whew, gone. And that's what noise canceling headphones do. They invert the phase of the noise and then send that to the ears, and that's why you don't hear. It's the craziest thing. In fact, that's how they got rid of that noise. They get rid of noises. They'll sample it and then they'll invert the phase and play that over the noise on a track, and that's how they can get rid of noises. It's really fascinating. And so I said, "Oh, okay." And he showed me, and all I had to do was open up the back, reach my hand in, take the connectors off, and go like that, and put them back on, and it worked fine. And so this song was the first session I ever did with my rig, and I was kind of doing. It kind of had the song was a little bit like that. It was in the era of that Pat Metheny Snowman and the was that Hawk and the Snowman or whatever that movie was that Bowie and Pat Metheny did a song together on. It was kind of in that vein. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Oh, what's the link there, Dennis? 90s Alive. See him link. So Dennis, what is that link? Oh, okay. This is what I used to use in the 90s. Yeah, and the thing is, in software now you can invert the phase. So if you did record something and the phase is one side is out of phase or whatever, the track is out of phase, you can actually invert the phase of the other side, and you can usually pull up some kind of software. It's just like a gain controller, a master volume, something like that, and then you can just separate the phases so you can invert the phase on one side, or you can actually pan them. But if you're ever listening to something, listen to it, and if you can listen to it and invert the phase on one side, you'll hear it, because it's like almost gives you a headache. It's like you can feel it and hear it in your sinuses. Okay, so the other thing that happened that day was I'm walking around the office park. It's late at night in Santa Barbara, probably late Saturday night or something like that. I'm going to call Rob today and just reminisce with him a little bit, but if he's around. But I'm walking around this park, and there's a guy. There's another office park, and he's got a guitar and an amps and all this stuff set up, and he's playing guitar, and I'm like, oh, cool. What are you doing? And he goes, I'm an inventor, and I wonder who this guy was, because it wasn't David, it wasn't Lynn drum machines, but it was what he invented was a pickup that had 2 poles. Bruce, I think you'd like this if you're still there. It had 2 poles per string. And what it would do is, if you picked down on the note, it would send it to one side, or through one cable. You had 2 cables coming out of the guitar. It didn't have a stereo cable. It had actually 2 cables plugged in. And if you plugged it up, it would send it through the other cable. So the pickup could tell if you were plucking down or up. I kid you not. And so what you could do is, if you plucked down, up, down, up, down, up like that, it would go left, right. He had the 2 outputs going to 2 different amps. So you could have this stereo sound where everything was going back and forth. I couldn't think of a reason to use that. Just like, what? If you just did all downstrokes, then it would all just come out of one speaker. So if you went, here we go, which is cool, maybe, but I mean, it's certainly faster than trying to pan each individual note. I've done that before. I have done this where like I played like, and then I played the opposite 8th note. And then what I did was pan one left and one right, so it sounded like dun 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 dun. And that was just just playing quarter notes versus quarter notes shifted over. Eighth notes, and then another set of 8th notes, but shifted over one 16th note, so that they were off a 16th. But anyway, you know what? Jerry Garcia may have used something like that. Keep in mind, this would have been 91, 90, maybe 89. I mean, may have been before kids. I don't know. I drove all the way. I had my Honda Civic. I remember that. It's weird. I have very vivid memories of this session. But it was like I said, the first session I ever used that rig on. Oh, it would have been after 90, because in 1990, a friend of mine got me some session work with this composer, because he usually used Michael Thompson. Thompson was out of town. So, I mean, I could hardly say I was a poor man's Michael Thompson, but I was a poor man's Michael Thompson. And I mean, I showed up with the worst gear, but we managed to get some pretty good tracks done for, one was a theme for a TV show called Herman's Head. So I played guitar on that, and that was one of those sessions in 1990. I think it was 90. So I didn't have my rig then. That was something that I got later. And boy, I'll tell you, that rig, I would do every trick in the book to try to get rid of buzz. I had the rails. I had window caulking, like window strips on the rails, and then I would punch holes through them where I would put the screws in, and I would use plastic screws instead of metal screws. Basically, anything you could do to get rid of a ground or a hum or a buzz. It was crazy. Okay, so did I get a question here? I don't know about Jerry Garcia, but anyway, so there's my story. Sorry, Diane, it's not. I guess you said wow, so I guess it was an interesting story. But that's one of my early sessions memories, and like I said, I'll listen to this track and see if it's the one I played on. I'll post it on the. He'll be blown away, because he'll get all these views and be like, wait a minute, where did all these views get from? But anyway, it was fun. Okay, any recommendations for wiring tips on the net? I need to refresh. Doing a cheap LP kit. Oh yeah, there are some great videos, I'm sure. And I think one of the things for me, like Alex does wiring. I don't really do wiring. I did a lot of soldering back in the day, but I worked for a jewelry company doing it. So I really just like I really don't. The smell of solder just makes me depressed because I was doing this work I hated that was tedious, and I wasn't playing guitar for a living, and so it was just kind of depressing. So anytime I smell solder, I think of that. But thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. You too, Diane. But yeah, but one of the things you can get those. They have these little weighted things where you have the banana clips on, like like the roach clips, on there, so you can put the two wires and get them, mount them so they're right together. And then it has like a glass, so it protects your eyes, but it also magnifies. And then get good solder and a good soldering iron. I think those are the tools. If you have good tools, it makes it a lot easier. Alex is pretty good at it. And then there's guys that like, okay, you got to do it this way and let it cool this time, whatever. There's some tips there. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm not sure how many what do we have? We have 38. So, who knows? 42 likes. Well, I'm not sure. Thank you for the likes. That makes me feel good. I'm only here for the likes. I get high from the likes. I appreciate you all, and I thank you so much for being so kind to each other. That means a lot to me. And I want to say, Falcon and the Snowman, thank you, Peter. That's exactly right. Yeah, it was 85. So, I wonder if I did that session. No, see, that rig it would have been after. So anyways, he was kind of getting that kind of vibe. I'll post the song in, if you're on the Discord, I'll post it there. Two separate channels. You can switchable humbuckers that can be switched to single coil. Yes, I've had humbuckers that did that, and they never sound very good. Kimberly, thank you so much. You're very welcome. Bob, don't worry about it. I have to dedicate myself to the guitar at this point because it's what pays my mortgage. Cannabis coffee. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope so. And tomorrow we're gonna review, and we're gonna get more rotations through the rhythm of the blues. We'll review some of the licks. I kind of was bummed that Kathy wasn't here because I think she was really actually was starting to a light bulb was going off in her head. And I can take more talks on the blues. Also, David Sillers, I think you were asking me about maybe playing further up the neck. So maybe I can draw up a pentatonic shape up the neck, and we can do that. I could get a little bit more academic when we start talking about Mixolydian scales. I could do that. I could do that on the top two strings. That might be kind of cool. You could see that. So I'm going to have to do some more graphics. So hopefully I'll have time today to do that, because if it gets to tomorrow, I may not be able to have time before the lesson to do it. So anyway, God bless you all. See you tomorrow, Lord willing. So lesson 49 tomorrow. We're almost to 50. Oh my gosh. No. Okay, bye.